Are you ready for some football?
It's Tua and Herbert time.
And the age-old rivalry that is Cowboys and Giants.
RELAX with a little bit of Allen.
Keep it right with us. This is Sunday Scaries with Buccs McGee, taking you through week one kickoff right after this.
Welcome back to Sunday Scaries with yours truly, Bucks McGee, and my right-hand man, the one, the only, Nutmeg to Palmetto. Welcome to week one of the 2003 season, where we're here to give you some knowledge, talk about what we think we know, and just have a good time.
Maybe a little snack talk, too.
Oh, of course, a little something extra there, as always. And, of course, tell us what your teams are doing, what you're feeling. Nutmeg, take us away.
So we're going to start off this season with a nice little structure for the audience. We're going to pick the three quote-unquote best game, maybe most appealing games of the weekend and go over them. And hopefully we don't wind up with a week where there's 6 of them and we have to do a 2.5-hour show. The first one is a very intriguing matchup taking place in Los Angeles. Although I still can never get used to calling them Los Angeles. They'll always be San Diego to me.
Yes, always.
Chargers come in with Herbert getting the big money contract in the offseason. They retooled their defense a lot the previous season. And they got Herbert one more toy this offseason with rookie Quentin Johnston. So and a new OC in stealing Kellen Moore from the Chargers from the Cowboys, excuse me. So with all those pieces together, I think this is a little bit of put up or shut up for them. And to start off the season, they host the Dolphins, who made the playoffs last year as well. However, they kind of limped in and they had a lot of question marks how they handled Tua's concussion protocols throughout the season. So what's your first instinct for both these teams going into this game?
Okay, I think it's real simple for both teams. Chargers, there's talent all over the place. Like you said, they got the big guy, rookie Quentin. I love that guy. Big physical receiver. He just adds to that offense. But it's the coach. Point blank. No one trusts this coach whatsoever. His play calling is horrible. Let's be realistic. There were multiple games that these guys should have won that they didn't based on just his calls. Coaching is not good. He's on the hot seat right here. This team is built to honestly take the Chiefs over. It's fact. They match up well. It's just the coaching. So if this starts bad early, get ready for Kellen Moore to take over. I think that's what the plan is. No one's going to say anything, but if they go 1-4, 2-6, Kellen Moore is just going to walk on in, and you can see that team flip like nothing. So that's what I think. I think Chargers, it's coaching. Miami, it's Tua. Tua needs to stay healthy. They handled his concussions horribly. He should never have went right back in after the first concussion. They should have took him out, and I think if they had done that, even if they had to lose a couple games, their backup quarterback situation's a little rough. Long term, they probably would have been better off. Tua has to stay healthy. They're the same as the Chargers. There's talent all over there. If Tua doesn't stay upright, it's going to be a long season.
As far as the Chargers coaching situation goes, if they get off to a really bad start, do you think they would do something as extreme as make the change in season? Or do you think they would keep this ship steady and make it the change in the offseason?
You have too much money invested. For like 4 days, Herbert was like, the highest paid quarterback, because we know how that works. Someone gets paid, 4 or 5 days later, someone else is the highest paid quarterback.
Yeah.
You know, Burrow's the man now. He's the new guy. So I don't know anybody else who's getting a new contract extension. So I think that's safe. But no, you have too much money invested. That team is built to win now. They're not old, but there's especially on that defense, you know, you got Khalil Mack, Bosa. Those guys are slowly starting to creep up in age. You know, they've still got some years on them for sure to play well. But no, I think if they start off bad, coach is gone, Staley's gone, and they're looking elsewhere.
And they have a nice little window right off the top of the season to put a feather in their cap and sit in first place because Kansas City lost on opening night.
Exactly. I think all the teams last night in the AFC West sat there and said, okay, this is the time. We've got to do it now.
Yeah.
Because no one is impressed with Kansas City's receivers by any stretch of the imagination. So this is the time where this first quarter of the season, these teams are going to have to put up and perform to keep up.
So as far as Miami goes, Tua is obviously the big thing. Well, let's talk about the rest of the team as well. They're running their backfields got some injury concerns. Jeff Wilson's down for a significant chunk of time. Raheem Mostert's getting up there in age. I got this new kid, Devon Achane. So there's a lot of question marks in the backfield. You still have Tyreek, you still have Jalen Waddle, so there's big targets. But could this team almost be like Kansas City Chiefs light, where they're very one-dimensional and easy to defend, and on top of that, you of course have Tua's health concerns.
It's true, and I think losing Gesicki really hurt them. I think the tight end position really hurts them. They wide receivers, top talent there at that position. Their defense is solid. It's a great unit. I think this team is almost going to have to lean on the defense a little bit in the beginning of the season to kind of feel themselves out till the offense kind of starts moving, starts flowing. Like you said, the running back position is kind of rough. You know, there were rumors, you know, that Miami was hot and heavy for, you know, your boy Taylor there out of Indy. And the rumor was that Waddle could have been a piece. That could have been a trade. Now, if I'm Indy, if that's the case, I would have done the deal.
Yeah.
You know, right then and there, you got yourself a cornerstone wide receiver because let's be honest, passing's the way to go. So I think Miami still may be in the hunt for somebody, you know. Still got a couple weeks before Taylor becomes available. Could still happen. But no, they're going to have to shore up the running back position at some point. Unless the rookie really catches fire, then at that point, you know, all bets are off. But the running back and tight end positions are going to be kind of interesting to watch with this team.
I hope he does because I have my couple fantasy teams.
Really, that's what it's all about, huh? Fantasy, right? Mm-hmm.
I don't have any other reason to watch the Dolphins. No offense, Lou and Sarah, from We Beer here.
No, it's true. It's the Dolphins.
The Taylor thing was, I can't recall off the top of my head whether it was a situation where we wanted Waddle and they wouldn't give him up, or we wanted more than Waddle and they weren't willing to give us more than that.
From what I've read, there wasn't really anything else said. The way that it was kind of presented out there was almost a 1-for-1, which I really couldn't see that happening. There had to have been more that Indy wanted for him. Indy was shooting for the stars in this situation. They're treating them like, you know, running backs of 4 or 5 years ago, where you get a first round pick, no problem. No one's doing that anymore. So they probably wanted more from Miami, and Miami said, nope, we're good right now.
Yeah.
But who's to say that, you know, week 5, week 6, Indy's like, you know what? We just want to cut ties. All right, Miami, what are you willing to give us? Because if Miami's struggling, they may say, okay, who do we want? Now, the problem is Tyreek has said after this contract, he wants to retire. So do you really give Waddle up? I think you almost have to elevate Waddle and make him your guy and kind of let Tyreek kind of fade out if this is true. Because Tyreek can't be the guy, and then like 2-3 years later, he's gone. And then Waddle, you have this sour puss wide receiver who's like, no, I was always here for you. You know, now what are you going to do? So it's interesting with Miami. It's almost a win now scenario, as long as Tua's healthy.
Sour puss wide receiver as they try to acquire my sour puss running back.
See, look at that. 2 sours make a smiley sweet. I don't know.
That's right.
There you go. 2 sours make a smiley sweet, But Miami, number one. Tua has to stay healthy. If Tua goes down at all, they could finish last in that division.
Yeah. Another division that's going to be very contested is the NFC East. 3 teams made the playoffs last year. It could be very likely 3 teams make the playoffs again this year. They usually do wind up starting on Sunday night, week 1. It's usually a competitive game. I noticed a lot of times in the past, the road team wins these two. Like our old adage, we always split the divisional games and we side with home when we're doing it on paper. But for whatever reason, Cowboys and Giants seem to split and win on the road.
Yeah, exactly. It's very, very weird. It seems like they play better. They play higher than they are skill wise when each of them is on the road in their wins. So I don't know. This one feels interesting. If it's anything like, our game yesterday with KC and Detroit, the Giants could go in there and just handle business. Yeah, I don't know because I don't know what the Giants are now. Today, there's some whispers that Waller could be injured. People are thinking maybe some smoke and mirrors. They don't know, but if Waller's nicked up already week 1, there's some issues. The Giants are in some trouble. The Giants are in some trouble because they sat there and really everyone was surprised that the trade went down, but everyone was hanging their hat thinking that they're going to get Waller of old.
Yeah.
I don't know if he's going to be healthy. If not, you're almost back to the same scenario you had last year when you had your wide receivers almost match up to KC's. Let's be realistic. Whose wide receiving core would you take right now? Kansas City's? Now, mind you, you got to take Kelsey out. Right. Are you going to take KC's? Or are you going to take the Giants?
I might take KC's just because I think there's a little bit more of an upside there.
Now, is the upside because of the quarterback?
Well, that could be too, but even there's a lot of unknowns on KC's wide receiver room, but those unknowns have a lot of talent. Justin Ross has a lot of talent. Rashee Rice, the rookie, has a lot of talent. The Giants receivers room, I don't know if those guys have the same amount of talent. That's equally as unproven, probably is fair to say. But I think there's more raw talent in Kansas City's wide receiver room.
True, but I also think the quarterback is going to bring that out. I think those receivers would probably develop faster under Mahomes than they would under Danny Dimes.
Yeah.
So right now, and of course you got Saquon, and Saquon is, as long as he stays healthy, he's going to get his numbers. He's playing for a contract. Let's be realistic. He signed his 1-year deal. So he wants to look big, and either the Giants are going to pay him or someone else is going to pay him. And then, Cowboys, it's the Dak show. The question is Dak.
Yeah, that's the next thing. As far what situation is more pressure packed? The Giants situation with did we make the right decision and pay Danny Dimes over Saquon, or the Cowboys as per usual with McCarthy and Dak, and you've been here a long time. We paid the quarterback the money. You're still not getting us to the Super Bowl or even championship weekend. What party holds more pressure in this?
Oh, it's definitely Dallas. Let's be honest. No one thought the Giants were going to be as good as they were last year. They were a surprise. Let's be honest. The tide turned with them, especially with that game against Green Bay. At that point, I think that's when you kind of saw them, to kind of take that next step into decent, almost, you want to say. The Giants were playing with house money at that point. No one expected anything from them. So now, they spent some money on Danny Dimes. And, I think that's the one question people will have, that the Giants outbid themselves. Because I don't know if anyone was going to give Jones that kind of money. The Cowboys, no, with all that talent and, McCarthy decides he's going to call the plays and all of this now, it's all on them. You guys are set to win now. If you guys don't at least make the conference championship, there's a problem. That team is a conference championship or bust team.
Yeah.
Easy. So Dallas starts out slow and Dak's throwing picks like nobody's business like last year. The whispers are going to be, is Trey Lance ready? Is Trey Lance ready?
what are the odds, similar enough to how I asked with the Chargers, what are the odds that the Cowboys do something extreme in the middle of the season? Whether that be firing McCarthy or benching Dak.
I don't know if they'd fire McCarthy. I think Jerry Jones kind of likes McCarthy. I don't think he's going to fire him. I think he's going to give him enough rope to definitely hang himself. But the deal is going to be, okay, are we going to go right? If Trey Lance is looking good in practice, are we going to give him a shot? Are you going to totally cut out Cooper Rush and say, nope, we're going with Lance. This is the guy. And don't forget, because Cooper played well last year.
Yeah.
He played well last year, and a lot of guys were kind of gravitating towards him. He didn't make too many mistakes. He delivered the ball well. So if it's a situation where Dak falls apart, they throw Cooper in there to kind of give him a jolt, and he rides them to the end of the season into the playoffs, it could be a deal where, Dak gets sent somewhere, because there have been rumors about this. Dak after this season could be gone somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
So you got Cooper Rush, and then all of a sudden Trey Lance is elevated to 2. Lance is young as all, so he can basically, sit there, develop, and the next thing he becomes the future Dallas quarterback. So there's scenarios all over this team. If Dak doesn't perform, you could see him out.
That's going to be one heck of a trade watch to keep an eye on, because that's a lot of money to move.
It is, but, Dallas will do it. The way the contract is structured, I don't think it's too bad, but let's say San Fran isn't playing well. Let's say their quarterback situation is a mess. They're built to win now. Trade some pieces, whatever, this and that. They say, okay, we'll pick up, even though you signed Bosa to a massive deal. If they're trying to get that ring now, wouldn't surprise me if those two teams work something out. And if Dak, he's a little better than a game manager, maybe he delivers them, and takes over Philly, and you see them in the Super Bowl. But I don't know if that would happen. But weirder things in the league have.
Ironically enough, Dak's best year was when he played more like a game manager.
Exactly. When there was no expectation, he wasn't trying to, run all over the place, deep passing all over. I think he's got to play within himself. Yeah, you have these weapons that can stretch the field and all that. You shouldn't be looking to throw for 360 yards a game, 3 touchdowns. He needs to play within himself and what those defenses give him, because no one really believes in Dak. I don't think so. I think they're just waiting for the pick that turns the game over, and there you go.
Last question on the Giants. Based off of last year with their little smoke and mirrors game and getting the most out of what they had, and their very efficient execution line of schemes and whatnot. Did they do enough to not just run it back and have the book be out on them, and have them be a little easier to play and expect what to get out of that team? Because in theory,
I don't know.
They could be a team where it's just easy for teams to play now, because nobody's going to be fooled anymore.
Yeah, and I get the whole feel good. We weren't talented, but we played hard, and that's what got us our wins, and that's what got us there. They're not going to take anybody by surprise anymore, and this is the year you're going to find out who Daniel Jones is. He got the money. He wanted to be the man. You're the man in New York now. You're the guy. So now it's put up or shut up. And if he falls apart, then Saquon's going to sit back there and say, you know what? I'm just going to get my yards. I'm going to prove that this was a bad decision. And if Saquon wants to be bitter, someone's going to pay him just enough and say, you had your chance. The Waller trade was decent. I could see, it was one of those things where risk reward.
Yeah.
If he ends up getting dinged up, and if he's hurt now, your receiving core is no better than it was last year. It was no better. There were rumors that D-Hop considered the Giants and that they didn't want him. And if that's the case, then Giants were stupid, because he would have brought a lot to that room, to that receiving room. So their defense is solid. They play solid defense. Their line is good. But they have this feeling where when they play the higher end teams, it's almost going to have to be perfect ball still. I don't think they're good enough where if they make a couple mistakes or a couple bad turnovers, they can come back and play from behind. I don't think they have that offense yet. They don't. And in the NFC with, the Niners and the Eagles, you have to have that. You got to be able to score.
Everyone's favorite topic, and I know it's yours too. The other New York team.
Buffalo?
Fair point. I should have said the other New Jersey team.
Oh, yes. Yes, my man right there.
Oh.
The man who I have taken on, for years, my years of disdain. I have now welcomed him into my circle. Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers.
They get the I don't know whether to call it a privilege or a burden of closing out the weekend on Monday night against the aforementioned Buffalo Bills, the true New York football team.
Oh, I love this game. This might be my favorite game of the weekend, man. I love this game. Because you're gonna find out right now, what the Jets are. Because it's been a honeymoon. It has been an absolute honeymoon since they signed Aaron Rodgers of the Jets, and everything was feeling good. Him and Sauce have their their handshake and all this fun stuff going on. Aaron's gone to Knick games, hockey games. Once he signed, doing the tour, having a good time. But now the games are real, and these young receivers are going to find out. Like, if you don't run the route right, if something goes wrong, Aaron will chew you out. Aaron will eat you alive. And that's why they brought Randall Cobb and Lazard in, because they know what Aaron wants. And Cobb told those guys, hey, on Hard Knocks, if you guys don't run your routes, Aaron's coming for you. It's not going to be pretty. So you've got that. They're built to win. That team, that defense, I love that defense. Sauce Gardner, my favorite corner in the league. Second favorite to Jamel Dean. Sauce is unbelievable talent. Garrett Wilson. Like, this team is built to win. And then you have Buffalo. And nobody knows what Buffalo is. It's a mess over there. No one's really, people are talking about it, but let's be real. The running game is no. The run. I'm not a fan of the running game. I still don't think the running game is great. Is Diggs really happy there? You got Stephen A. Smith on ESPN swearing that he's talked to people and that Diggs wants out of Buffalo. You hear all this. They didn't improve the team. It was like a year or two ago, they were there. It was like they were on the heels.
Mm-hmm.
And it's now feels like they have fallen back. They're almost tier 2, the high-end tier 2 of the AFC. And I don't think anybody fears them anymore. If they start out slow, who knows what's going to happen? What are they going to do? If Diggs starts crying and, wanting to leave Buffalo, are they going to get rid of him? Are you going to have a malcontent? Is it going to be a TO episode where, he's like, I'm not playing, I don't care. Buffalo, I'm not a fan of. I think this is almost a must win. First game must win, because they need to show the rest of the league that everything is good in Buffalo. We're good. We're here. Don't forget about us, because no one's real. People are talking about them, but it's not like it was a couple years ago.
Can they kind of hush and get that same public reaction if they lose, but it's close and competitive?
No, because I think what happens is people will say, okay, yeah, you kept it close with New York, but this New York team was brought together this year.
Yeah.
So if the Jets, if it's one of those things where Aaron does what Aaron does, 2-minute drill, flicks one in the end zone, they score, they win, everyone's going to be like, well, Buffalo, what happened? This team has been together for so long, there's almost no excuse. It's you perform now, or you know what? Blow it up and start from scratch. Because now what's going to happen is it has this feeling where pieces are going to fall off. They're going to start throwing Band-Aids on positions. And in another 2 years, they're going to be, 8 and 9 at best.
Mm-hmm.
Like they don't have that feel like they did a couple years ago. So I feel they need to win this game. They need to smack New York in the mouth and be like, don't forget about us. This is our division. Don't forget about us.
What's the best comparison for the Bills as far as a team that was on the cusp, everything was going right, that they just couldn't get over that hump? They couldn't beat their boogeyman, in their case, the Chiefs, I suppose. Like, they couldn't beat their boogeyman, and now the rest of the league's caught up to them, the rest of the conference is caught up to them, and they don't look as good. Is there a good, like, can you think of a good comparison from contemporary years past? I mean, it's hard to say the Colts because we won. It's hard to say the Steelers
Wow.
or the Broncos.
I almost want to say the Chargers.
Okay.
The Chargers with New England.
Okay.
Because there was like 2 or 3 years where it was like the Chargers were set. Everyone picked. They were ready. They were ready to go on to the Super Bowl. Like, they were picked. They were everybody's pick. They had talent all over the place. But then when they would meet in the playoffs against New England had their number. So that I could see that as a possible comparison. But you know what? With Buffalo, it seems like they haven't really had that one team, because don't forget, it was Kansas City, then it was Cincinnati. So it's almost like not one team has been their boogeyman. It's been like seeds 1 and 2, or the higher ends have been their boogeyman. Like, they're there, but then when they meet when it counts, they just fall apart.
Yeah.
So because right now, if you're talking rivalries in the AFC, you're talking Kansas City and Cincinnati. Right there, it all started with Burrowhead and all of that, and the chippy talk in the offseason, when KC got their rings, like, they've been going back and forth. Though that's the game you people want to see.
Yeah.
People, if it's KC and Buffalo, it's a good game, but it doesn't have that juice.
Last week's newspaper.
Yeah, basically, that's why Buffalo needs to come out this year and remind people who they are, if they can do that.
Last topic on the Jets. We'll have a little fun with this. I'm looking at, unfortunately, I did draft him in 2 of my leagues. I'm looking at Garrett Wilson on this team, and I'm envisioning this as Rodgers having, assuming everything is right with Rodgers, and last season was just him being a malcontent and not starting to see a decline.
Right.
I see Garrett Wilson as having Demaryius Thomas, rest in peace, type of explosion when Payton went to Denver. So this receiver who's already good, already puts up very respectable numbers, but gets an elite quarterback with him, and all of a sudden now he's just putting up its video game numbers.
Basically, the offensive rookie of the year last year, gets an elite quarterback, and now what can you do? Like you said, it's like Madden. It's like now you've got these 2 guys who could be special. I would almost say Devontae Adams.
Yeah.
I think this might be Rodgers' new Devontae. Garrett, he's incredible. He really is. I watched a lot of their games last year, and the kid just has talent. He's quick, he's big, he can run routes. He is going to bring life to Aaron, I think. I think Aaron's going to sit here and be like, this is fun. I think there was no fun for him in Green Bay last year, and I think with Garrett Wilson, it's his Levante. So now he's like, all right, it's Devontae Adams. Here we go. 2.0. Let's do this. So no, I think Garrett is incredible. And with what they've picked up, especially with, Dalvin Cook, to be realistic, if Hall's healthy, you've got this 1-2 running back combo that's going to play havoc. Both can receive out of the backfield. They both can get the tough yards. Aaron doesn't have to worry about throwing the ball 40, 50 times. He can just do what he wants, and that offense is going to be nice. So I think Garrett Wilson is going to be incredible. He could be the best receiver at the end of the year in the AFC, no doubt, or maybe even the league.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I think so too. As far as other teams to talk about, there's two teams that did a lot of changing of pieces in the offseason. And that is one, the Ravens. They got Lamar's contract, ending that soap opera. The only
Thank God. That was like 30. That was like day 44. That was almost like the Aaron Rodgers watch.
Yeah, I was gonna say that the only soap opera that took a back seat to was Aaron Rodgers.
Like honestly, it was like, come on, man, either sign or just move on with it. I don't care.
Yeah. They signed Odell Beckham Jr., who I don't necessarily know what to expect from, but at least if he's healthy, he is an explosive downfield option. And they drafted this kid, Zay Flowers, who everybody seems to be really excited about. Now, with a little bit of better luck in the trainer's room, Mark Andrews stays healthy, J.K. Dobbins stays healthy. You have this Baltimore team that were good last year. They might actually look like the Baltimore we recognize. And then the other team is, of course, the thorn in your side of recent years, the New Orleans Saints. Kamara's finally got his suspension dealt out. He's going to miss the first 3 games. They signed Jamal Williams to fill in while he's gone. They drafted this new kid, Kendra Miller. So that's going to be a really interesting running back dynamic once Kamara's back, see who gets the carries. They also got rid of infamous Jameis, or put him back to backup role, I should say, and brought in cast off Derek Carr. I always have to remind myself it's Derek, not David.
Right? Like all the time, I'm like, is it Derek or David?
Yeah. And maybe Michael Thomas is actually healthy this year. So which one of these two teams, the Ravens, the Saints, squads that we're used to seeing success out of, which one of them actually has the best chance to be successful this year?
Oh, no doubt the Ravens.
Okay.
I feel the Ravens, they have the talent. With this new offense, I think it's going to open up things for Lamar. But this is going to be, I think, the first real year where you're going to see Lamar maybe sit in the pocket and really put an onus on throwing the ball. I think that team, they've always been able to run the ball. Like, let's be realistic. They've always been able to run the ball. Unfortunately, their running backs, they're like in the infirmary every week. There's always someone getting hurt. So it was ridiculous. So if the running backs stay healthy, no, the Ravens could be an elite team. There's no doubt about it. My issue with the Saints is, okay, so you bring Carr over. Everyone's singing the praises of, Derek Carr here. Everyone's like, oh, Carr this, Carr that. I thought he had a better team with the Raiders. If you look at the pieces and everything, I think they were comparable to each other. So why didn't it work out in LA?
I think he had better weapons in Vegas, but I think his defense might be better now.
That defense is older. Like, honestly, yeah, it's a solid defense. I'm not going to lie. But that defense is getting older. Like Cam Jordan, how many more years does he have left?
Yeah.
The
Energizer Bunny.
Like their defense is solid. I'm not going to take anything from them. But it wasn't like Derek was like the only bright spot on a team and then came over. It is really going to make that much of a difference. The only reason the Saints are being given that division is because the NFC South is just in massive turnover.
Yeah.
Let's be realistic. If Carr goes over to the NFC, NFC North, is he really that much of a difference? Is he that much better than Kirk Cousins?
He might have a few less screws loose, but as far as raw talent, no, they're pretty interchangeable.
So it's this whole thing, this whole narrative that, Carr's gonna, carry the Saints and they're gonna, make some noise. No, they may win the division by default because that division is rough. Let's be honest, and they're gonna get bounced in the first round. So that's great. Hooray, Saints fans! I'm happy for you. Go ahead, get your division and get bounced. Because let's be honest, the guys have been almost kind of irrelevant since, your man Drew left. Let's be honest. Like, that's great. It's great to believe in yourselves, but let's be honest. No. So I think the Ravens are a better team. I think they can make some noise. And I think if the cards fall right, they can make some noise. They can make their way to the conference championship. They could, because there's so many questions with these other teams, primarily Buffalo.
Yeah.
They may have to win on the road. They'll get, I don't know if they're going to win their division, but they could be a wild card that no one wants to play. And that team to me feels like they would take on that persona of no one wants us. No one wants to play us. So we don't care. We'll go anywhere and play.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All the top AFC contenders have a good but about them, except for Jacksonville, but Jacksonville at the same time is so young.
Exactly. It's almost like Jacksonville is that kid in high school who made the varsity team early.
Yeah.
And he gets time and he plays because they know he has talent, but he hasn't reached their potential yet. I love the Jags. I think the Jags are going to be great, but you still have the older brothers. You have the older guys that are going to say, hold on, it's not your time yet.
Yeah.
So, but no, the Ravens can make some noise. If they get hot at the end of the season, no one's going to want to touch them. So, and Michael Thomas, come on now.
I'll believe it when I see it.
Exactly. I hope the man's healthy. The man, before he got hurt, talent beyond belief, hands like nobody. But, if Carr starts throwing picks, if he's throwing 2 touchdowns and a pick or 2 a game, that offense is no better than what they were with Jameis. And Jameis really wasn't bad. Believe me, I'm not the biggest Jameis fan, but he wasn't horrible. Had talent. He just makes bad throws. So
the ultra subtle move of you rolling your eyes back to talking about blind James.
Hey man, hey.
Not to spend too much time on it, but just quick to touch on the Sean Payton, Russell Wilson new marriage has its official debut this weekend at home versus the aforementioned Vegas Raiders a few times indirectly.
You mean the Vegas Patriots? Get it right.
That's right. I'm sorry, Vegas Patriots. My apologies. That is true. Patriots West. Patriots West.
There you go.
What do Sean Payton and Russell Wilson need to do in this first game to convince the football world that this is going to work?
They got to win. Let's be honest.
Win. Doesn't matter what it looks like. Ugly win, blowout, doesn't matter.
It needs to be a win where, wow, everyone wants Russ to be the Russ of old. I don't know if you're going to get that. I don't know. So what I'm thinking is if Russ plays within the system, 2 touchdowns, no turnovers, they move the ball well, then I think everybody's happy. If it's an absolute ugly win and, he's thrown for 2 picks, and just looked out of sorts, continues what he had last year, people are going to say it's got nothing to do with Russ. It was all Payton. And the clock will start to tick till the removal of Russell Wilson because they will get rid of him.
Yeah.
I think Payton runs the show there, and it's going to be okay, matter of time. But no, they need to win. Russ needs to be solid. He can grow to spectacular, but he needs to be solid in this first game.
So we're gonna have a little fun at the end of the show. I guess we'll decide as the season goes along whether we continue to check in on our own teams every week before we sign.
Chase, I don't know why you're so. Chase, I don't know why you make jokes, man. Shoot, man.
Probably because my owner decided to rescue an orca who eventually died instead of just paying his running back.
Yeah, I guess that would irk me a little bit. That would irk me a little bit. I'm a defending division champ. I'm feeling good about myself.
Well,
you know why? Because if you don't feel good about your team, no one else will, folks. Be honest with yourselves. It's week 1. Everyone can make the Super Bowl.
That's what the Cleveland Browns and Detroit Lions have been telling themselves for 20 years, not too long ago.
Hey, Detroit is 1-0. Give them their props.
I will. I do.
Cleveland, you know what Cleveland is.
Yeah. So let's start with Tampa before we start taking dumps on my chest.
AKA Baker Bay.
They open up on the road in
Mm-hmm.
Minnesota.
Yes.
Minnesota's a kind of a similar position to what we talked about with the Giants, where they kind of ran it back. They didn't change up a whole lot. So it is a tough place to go to. I could see Tampa pulling it out. I could also see Minnesota holding home field. What just take regardless of win or loss, what do you want to see from Tampa today in the opener? What do you want to see from Tampa to give you a good feeling for the rest of the season as far as the post Brady era?
All right. Well, it hurts so bad. It's tough, man. It's weird, man. It's really weird.
1999.
Like legit, like this man, me and this man have been there for like half my life. It's crazy. So it is. It's really crazy. But before I get too emotional, what I want to see, I want to see Baker just play a clean game. Limit the turnovers. I'm not looking for him to throw 300 yards, 4 touchdowns. Like I'm not. The way that this new offense is set up, it's a hybrid between, Seattle and the Rams. It's going to be a lot of play action. I want to see a lot of that. I think you're going to see a lot of play out of the backfield with the backs and things of that nature. There's still talent on this team. It's not like the cupboard was bare when Brady left. But, when you bring in Baker Mayfield, everyone's like, oh, Lord, here you go. It's third team in 3 years. This is a mess. There's nothing they can do. Baker isn't horrible. He just needs to play within himself. And I think if this team does this, and this defense is also solid, they've got quality guys, especially in the secondary. So this defense could be a top 10 defense. It really can. So limit the turnovers, play smart. They're going to have to play fast. They're going up against Jay Jettas, so the secondary is getting tested quickly.
Yeah.
The Vikings running backs are solid, but you let Dalvin Cook walk, so it's going to be interesting to see how that is. Now, let's not forget, Minnesota won a lot of games, but they were like last possession games. That's not going to happen again this year.
Mm-hmm.
Can Minnesota play from behind? Do they have that talent? This is Kurt's last year. No one knows if he's coming back next year. There's rumblings that maybe San Fran's in his future, depending how, Brock plays. So there's a lot of questions, and I think Tampa may kind of have that chip on the shoulder of, no one believes in us. Okay, we're just going to play, and where it lies is where it lies. I think the line's a bit more improved. Ryan Jensen's pretty much going to retire at the end of this year, it looks like, even though he's going to probably stick with the team in like a coach role. So I think they'll surprise some teams. They're going to be competitive. As long as they're competitive, that's all you can ask for. But, if week 10, week 11, it creeps around and they're in the hunt for the playoffs, might be one of those teams you don't want to see. So, but no, that's it. I think Baker plays clean, limit mistakes. They're going to have to do that. But I think they're going to be a fun team to watch.
Yeah, Baker, to me, his problem was always consistency. And when things didn't start to go very well is when the immaturity started to come out.
True.
I think if there's a situation where they could just keep a steady ship for him, the odds are going to be more improving that regardless of whether they can pull out a victory or not on most weeks, they'll at least be in the mix towards the end of the game.
No, true. Plus, I think Baker realizes this could be his last shot. Let's be realistic. Mm-hmm. If he truly believes he's still a starter. If you want to be a starter, this could be your best bet. So I think he's all in. And if this team kind of plays the way that they're constructed, they could make some noise. Yeah. You don't win Super Bowls your first quarter, second quarter of the season. It's what you're playing in November and December. And if they've got a shot at it, that's going to be more than what the pundits have said. So.
And I
It'll
think
be fun.
they'll be competitive certainly in this game because Minnesota doesn't build up big leads. They just come back from 30-point leads and embarrass other teams.
Exactly.
If you catch my drift.
I feel bad, man. It happens to everyone. But with Minnesota, it's just I don't know what that offense is going to be. And their defense, they've lost some pieces.
Yeah.
So it's like do they believe that they are first of all, a playoff team? Because you can't hang your hat on pulling out last minute wins like 10, 11 times out of the year. You can't do it.
Yeah. Playing with
and
fire.
I don't think and I don't know if they've done enough to improve that team. Like you compared, they're almost like the Giants in that sense. You haven't really done little pieces here and there, but if San Fran goes walking in there, San Fran's not scared of you.
Mm-hmm.
So
now, as far as the team nobody is going to be scared of, my team. We're opening the season at home. For once. We always open the season on the road. For once, we open the season at home.
See, that's a win right there.
Right.
See, you take the wins how you get them.
Yeah, that's right. And we're opening up against Jacksonville, which obviously is not the easiest task right off the bat. They're obviously the clear favorite to win the division. They had a huge playoff run last year. They're a young team that's all the more confident now. Now, typically, we do play better against them at home. When we go down to Jacksonville, that's our house of orders. We're usually okay against them at home, but this team is just with a rookie quarterback not having Taylor, it's just such a burden for this team. And like I like Deion Jackson. He is a good change of pace back. I have yet to see enough out of him to make me think he's a legit RB1. And like, I like Deion Jackson. I like what I saw of Evan Hall in the preseason. So, I mean, there's some pieces that could do something. I just don't think it's going to be enough. So really what I just want to see out of Indianapolis in this opener is don't get embarrassed. Don't look like the train wreck that everyone has been making fun of you for in the last few weeks. It's just,
right.
Richardson.
So you're fine. You're fine being competitive. You're willing to take the loss, but as long as it's clean and you're somewhat competitive through 4 quarters, you're happy with it because it shows growth.
Right. I'm not going to set myself up for disappointment and expect 9, 10, 11 wins. Just play a clean game of football. Look like you're responsive to a new coach. And as far as Richardson's concerned, yes, I want to see him show off the arm a little bit to make me kind of comfortable that we made the right decision and who we drafted.
Get you excited for the future.
Right. But also don't do it so much that you're constantly turning the ball over and you look lost out there.
I don't think he will. I honestly think he's a real smart kid. Watching his interviews and such, I'm excited for you guys. I think he's great. I think he could be special. I think he's got the right coach there that they're not going to put him out there and say, go ahead, throw the ball 40 times and good luck. But I think what's going to happen is they need to grind it. It needs to be a grind game. Because of course you're playing to win. You got to keep the ball out of Jacksonville's hands. Now, the running game, it's going to be tough without Taylor. Who knows what you have? But that's what happens if all of a sudden Jackson explodes and you're like, all right, you know what, Taylor, we're going to send you off where you want to go. Maybe it happens. Could be a lot of play action. The wide receivers, I think, are going to have to prove something. Pittman to me is not a true number 1.
He's not.
I think he's like a number. He's a legit number 2, no doubt. But I don't think he's that guy. So I think it's going to be them finding what this offense is going to be. Defensively, they're solid. They're a solid defense. They perform well.
I like our defense. We just were on the field too long last year. That's the only problem.
Yeah. Shaq Leonard needs to come back and play healthy. This needs to be a year where maybe he wins comeback player of the year.
Yeah.
Because if not, then hey, you know what? then you know what? You trade him too. You get some pieces for him. You build for the future, You sit there and say, this is a 3 or 4 year project where, we're looking playoffs and we're, we're taking that leap. You got to see what you have. Maybe this season is an audition for everybody.
Yeah.
So I think Richardson's gonna have some games where he's gonna show the physical talents. He's gonna prove Indy right with the pick. There'll be some growing pains. It's like that with any rookie quarterback. You have a few games where you're like, you're trying too much, but that in a couple of years he's gonna be able to make those throws or make those decisions. So I think the future is bright. It's gonna be rough, no doubt about it. But you've got some pieces there where I think they'll perform well, and you just kind of have to take it a week at a time. And you never know. Week 1, anything's possible. Let's be realistic.
I wouldn't mind 4 to 5 gritty, grinded out, tough, hard-earned victories, and 12 to 13 competitive, bad drop of the ball here or there, tough, competitive losses. And get us a nice top 3 draft pick to take our next bell cow running back.
Yeah, but now.
Sorry.
But honestly, the way that the running backs are, you don't have to take one in the first round anymore, and it's almost scary to do that. And the team that people are gonna watch is over in Atlanta. You took Bijan with the 8th pick. If for some reason he doesn't perform, people are going to look at you and be like, you know what, you guys were fools.
Yeah.
So like literally maybe third round is the new first round for, running backs, but what you need for him is if you want that top 3 pick, you take someone like Marvin Harrison Jr. You need that wide receiver.
Ironically enough.
Exactly. Hey, you never know. That kid, he is unbelievable. He is talent beyond talent. I think right now he's the best receiver in college. If you guys can finagle your way and get him, then there you go.
That would be apropos to the script.
It would be, right? You'd be like, wow, it's coming back. It's coming back. If that's what you're playing for, if you're like, you know what, let's just, like you said, top 3 or even top 5, you've got to go receiver because AR needs that guy who he's going to be with the next 5-6 years who he can count on.
Yeah. Receiver and then pass rusher.
Maybe a tight end because you need offense.
Yeah, in this league, yeah. Why couldn't this league be the league when Payton was playing? We score 60 points a game.
Right? Imagine that. Like imagine Payton coming out now.
Yeah.
Forget about it. He's throwing for like 6,500 easy.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, we make it look easy. Enjoy the games, folks, that kick off in a couple hours from now. And we'll catch you after the last 4:00 game, taking you into the Sunday nighter live on YouTube, reacting to all the action from week 1. And you'll catch the sidecar show Monday morning with our reaction again on audio. Bucks McGee, my friend, take us off air for week 1.
It's Sunday. Thank goodness football is back. Enjoy it. Eat your wings, get your beer, soda, whatever. Sit there for 7-8 hours. Enjoy it. Get your red zone going. Have your fantasy going. Life is right again. We've worked hard. 208 days. It's finally here. Amen. Thank you guys. Enjoy it. And we'll talk to you soon.